Modern day comic book writers just can't help themselves but insert their ideology and what they think the world should look like or what they think heroes should think about into modern day comic books with characters that we know and love. And that's exactly what's happened with Batman. We know, we talked about it, at least on Geeks and Gamers. I may have made a video on my channel as well, that it looks like they may be having some sort of gay love story for Batman in one certain iteration, one certain run of Batman comics. And in another one, we have this. Batman flees Antifa in Black Lives Matter style riots in new comic. These places all have insurance. Not my job to protect their profit margins. You have a Batman who is uniquely anti-capitalist somehow now and doesn't care when people are literally burning down the city. DC Comics continues to circle not only the creative drain, but the moral drain as well, with the latest Batman comic, Batman Fortress #1, which sees Batman flee from an Antifa and Black Lives Matter style riot. The comic was written by Gary Whitta, and of course, Gary Whitta has already responded to this by essentially saying it's just right-wing lunatics who have a problem with my comic book. We will get to him. As Batman attempts to figure out what is the cause of the blackouts, he's also called on to protect Gotham City after the entirety of the prisoners in Arkham are unleashed upon the innocent citizens. Batman's first stop is a rooftop overlooking an electronics store that's being looted with neighboring buildings, some of them appearing to be apartments set on fire. The rioters are even shown waving blunt objects in the air. Batman rationalizes he shouldn't put a stop to the rioters because there are more than likely bigger fish to catch out in Gotham City. Well, that is a gamble that pays off for Batman. He does find some bigger fish to fry, but he didn't know that at the time. That's just what he thinks, and it gives him time to have this inner monologue. Whitta writes Batman's interior monologue. Haven't seen a night like this in a while. Last time it was this bad with that damn fear gas in the water supply. Only so much I can do. Need to prioritize. Hunt the big fish, protect the little fish. I do agree with that in principle. Batman can't do everything. Batman can't be everywhere all the time, especially if he knows something else is going on. He absolutely should prioritize. But if he doesn't know something else is going on, that's kind of a problem. These places all have insurance. Not my job to protect their profit margins. In my father's day, the American dream used to mean something. An honest wage for honest work. Food on the table, liberty and justice for all. Now it's all an illusion, a carrot on a stick, attainable by a few, dangled just out of reach for everyone else. Bigger TV, faster cars, shiny objects to keep the masses distracted while the world burns. You want to blame them for grabbing the carrot when the lights go out? Go ahead. But don't look to me to stop them. That's not why I do this. So despite the fact that it might not be some big business, it might be some mom and pop shop that's getting looted, that's getting destroyed, where they don't have a couple days to wait for the insurance to come in. That's not Batman's problem. This is a commentary on current day. This is a commentary on allowing looting and burning because, you know, the rich people, they're just so evil. That's what this is all about at the end of the day. Gary Whitta knows that, which is why Gary Whitta had such mild rebukes of the criticism directed his way. Batman Fortress writer Gary Whitta defends Batman fleeing from Antifa and BLM-style rioters. Batman Fortress writer Gary Whitta recently defended the first issue of his series. It's a recap of what we just talked about. Gary Whitta, any negative review I get from a right-wing critic who can't stomach the thought that Bruce Wayne might have a social conscience goes into my positive review file. Thanks for this, says Gary Whitta. Well, then a day later, after he received a lot more criticism, he said this. I honestly didn't expect it to be that controversial, but some readers really didn't like the choice Batman made in Fortress #1 to pass up putting a beat down on people stealing big screen TVs and saving a busload of kidnapped school children instead. Telling. Unfortunately, Gary Whitta, you know, that is what you're trying to frame it as, but that's not the case, and you know that because the comic book that you wrote, Batman didn't know about this school bus full of kids. He just assumed that there were bigger things to do, more important things to do. That's all. It's not like it was that choice. You could have explained yourself better, but you really have no defense because you know that what this was, it was an excuse for you to make excuses for the riots and the looting that happened in this country over the past several years, that went ignored by so many people, that were justified in some people's thoughts. That's what this was. You were bringing the modern day actual problems going on in society. You were trying to justify it using Batman. Some people had a problem with that. You try to dismiss them just as, oh, right-wing extremists, something like that. Then you try to make this false argument that absolutely does not work. But that's current day DC, that's current day Marvel, that's current day comic books. And it's not going to get better. In fact, as Gary Wood is proving, it's only going to get worse.
Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.